You're listening to Glove Up or Shut Up on the Angry Marks Podcast Network.
All right, so we move on to the TUF 21 finale, and the last fight will be determined later on today. Actually, right now, in fact, if you listen to this live, the TUF 21 welterweight tournament final will be announced, and it'll be the co-main event under the Jake Ellenberger-Stephen Thompson main event.
Yep, Ellenberger versus Wonderboy, another slugfest at welterweight.
Do you think Thompson has a chance here?
I think he has a good chance.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Is Ellenberger on the downslope now?
I wouldn't say that. That's going a little too far, but you look at the record, and Wonderboy has reeled off 4 straight wins, and against 4 very good guys, Patrick Cote, Robert Whitaker, Chris Clements, Nashon Burrell. It's not like he's been fighting scrubs. Nor has Ellenberger. I mean, yeah, he's lost a few, but the guys he lost to were all really good. Rory McDonald, Robbie Lawler, Martin Kampman. So, you can't really take anything away from either of them, but to me, and I hate saying this because you know he's my hometown guy, but it just feels like Wonderboy has a little bit more momentum right now.
Are you picking Thompson?
I am picking Thompson.
Oh.
I hate doing it. I want to kick myself for doing it, but I am.
Speaking of fights, who do you have in the TUF final here?
But we don't know who it is, so how can I pick?
Well, but who do you think is going to be in the final, I should say?
No pun intended. That's really tough to say because
Sorry, I see what you did there.
the way they're doing it this season is it's points based, so it's about which team has the most points at the end, not which fighter is,
Yeah, deserving.
Let me just speculate based on the guys that I've seen on the show that I like who could be picked. That's the only thing I can do in this case. And one of them would be Haider Hassan, won his fights for top team and pretty much kept them in the thing. He's got a heck of a punch. He would be a fun guy to watch in a finale, so I could go for him if he's the guy that's picked. I could also see Jason Jackson. That guy is a great shit talker. He has good fights even when he loses. He's always exciting. So, Could be him. Who else? Well, they really love BB Monstro, but I don't know if he's got a record that proves he deserves to be in the final. Michael Graves, after his spectacular comeback win against Jason Jackson. So,
what about Nathan Coy?
Coy would be a good choice as well, although I think both Coy and Steve Carl underperformed a little on the season, so...
Yeah, I mean, you got that loss against LeCoq there by submission in the 3rd round, so it's going to be very interesting to see what happens there. Tune in, find out who the 2 finalists are, but overall as a season, do you think they're going to go back to this points base, or are they going to go back to the bracket system?
I think they'll have to go back to the brackets unless they're doing another team versus team.
But there's more teams they could do this with, though.
Oh, of course. And I enjoy the format of the team versus team. I just don't know if it's been a ratings blockbuster.
Yeah, it's the season 21 of the Ultimate Fighter, so.
Yeah, it's long in the tooth, as they say.
Mm-hmm. Now we move on to Cesar Ferreira against Jorge Masvidal. Boy, I got Masvidal on that one.
Yeah, I do as well.
Any other fights here that catch your eye?
Let me see if I care about any of these other fights.
I like Magna against Watterson.
Yeah, Karate Hottie. I was just talking about her, the former champion.
Yeah.
So that's another fighter with something to prove, is she wants to prove she's a capable strawweight in UFC, even though she was an atomweight in Invicta. So we'll see if going up in weight is a problem for her or not.
What about the Josh Simon fight?
Yeah,
is he fighting a brother or someone I know?
Kyle Magalhaes, the brother of Vinny Magalhaes.
It is his brother, right? Okay.
I think so.
Yeah, I think you're right. I see sometimes names where it's like Silva, and you're like, which Silva are you talking about here?
Yeah, there's a lot of guys named Magalhaes, so I wouldn't give you 100% on that, but I swear, I'm pretty sure they are.
And Trevor Smith and Dan Miller.
Yeah, that could be a good fight as well.
Basically those are the fights I'm looking forward to on that show. But that show is on the Sunday from Las Vegas at the MGM Grand Garden Arena, so be sure to tune in for that. And we gotta talk about the show in San Diego coming up on Wednesday next week.
Yes.
A rare Wednesday show.
Because we won't really have time to talk about it next Wednesday when it's taking place on Wednesday.
Unfortunately not. And this card on paper looks really good, but when you break it down, there are some fights here that I don't know about, to be honest.
Well, what, do you have an issue with Frank Mir and Todd Duffee as the main event?
No, I think this is a fight Duffee wanted. He's called out Frank Mir. This is a fight that he wants. I think Mir, it's too much for him. I think
Mir is a little bit past his prime.
You think Duffee wins here?
I think so.
I think Mir puts him in his place.
You think Mir submits him? I'm not saying he couldn't.
I think he does. I think he called me out. I'll show you.
He is one of the greatest submission artists that heavyweight division has ever seen in UFC, so I'm not saying it's impossible.
I'm not saying he's going to break his arm or anything, but...
No, but I just have this feeling that Duffee will hit him with a punch he won't recover from.
He does have a jaw, though. He does have a chin, though. He's been dropped before, so...
Yes.
Now, what about Tony Ferguson and Josh Thompson?
Well, this is a rebooked co-main event, because that's not the original fight.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell us what happened there?
Well, a lot of things have happened.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's talk about all the issues. I guess we're gonna have to get into it right now, even though we said it was for the news later, but here we go. Mm-hmm. Originally, there was going to be an Al Iaquinta versus Bobby Green fight on this card. Green pulled out due to an ACL tear. So, who steps up on short notice to take his place? Gilbert Melendez. Melendez is looking to get back on the winning ways because he's been on a bit of a bad streak of late. You know, it's not going well for him. He lost to Eddie Alvarez, Anthony Pettis, and if he didn't win this one, it was going to be 3 in a row. But he doesn't even get that chance now because he tested positive after UFC 188 for metabolites of an exogenous origin. In other words, he took steroids. And he's suspended for 1 year. And this fight was changed again, and now we've got a completely new fight because they're not booking a second fight for Iaquinta. He's taking some time off and getting some work done on a knee. So now we've got Thompson and Ferguson.
Which is a good fight.
And a good fight, but a completely new fight.
Yeah. Melendez did what fighters should do. He owned up to it, and he apologized.
He owned up to it in a very strange way. He said, I didn't inject anything, but it's my fault. What is he trying to imply with that? What is the statement he's making by saying that?
Maybe it wasn't an injection, it was like a pill.
Okay, but why is he pointing out that it wasn't an injection? Why did he feel the need to specify that?
That I couldn't tell you.
Is there some mental visual that he's afraid of that people think Gilbert Melendez gets horse steroids and sticks them in his ass? What is he afraid of?
I don't know. It's just, you're right. It was worded a little weird, but I appreciate fighters who own up to it as opposed to, no man, my B sample was fine, man. It wasn't me, man. Like,
well, he made a very interesting choice with his wording when he said, I'll be more careful with my supplements. Like, okay, he's admitting he did it, but he's also trying to scapegoat some supplement supplier and say it's their fault as opposed to his. It was an admission with, it was an admission, but it wasn't a full mea culpa. It was
an admission with an escape clause.
Right. It was like nolo contendere. Like, I'm not saying I did it, but I'm not saying I didn't.
Yeah. So, we go to Tony Ferguson and Josh Thompson. Who do you got in that fight? Yeah, exactly. It's a good fight.
Yeah. 2 years ago, I would have absolutely picked Thompson. There would have been no question in my mind whatsoever. But I'm looking at El Kukui, and I'm looking at just the wrecking ball that he has been, just one thing after another, knockouts, chokes, Darce chokes. He's just run through people lately. You know, Thompson is far from a shot fighter.
Oh.
But he has been on the losing end of a bunch of very tough fights. Gilbert Melendez, Benson Henderson, Bobby Green. There are chinks in the armor. And one thing I do know about El Kukui is he can find those chinks and he can just bust you wide open. So I'm gonna go with El Kukui.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with him as well. I mean, Thompson, as you said, he's not a shot fighter, but he's still got a few fights left in the tank.
The other way around would not shock me at all. If I'm wrong, in fact, if I'm wrong, I'd be happy. This is one of those cases where if I got the pick wrong, I'd be totally happy.
Can they both win here?
Yeah, I guess not. Unless there's a draw.
Holm is a very good, Holm is a very interesting fight here.
Holm is a boxer. She's a boxer turned MMA fighter, and she's not a scrub.
No, God no. I think with Holm, if she is able to keep the fight on the feet there, she has a better chance of winning. But I think Renault will just take her down and win the fight.
I just feel like Renault is the more well-rounded fighter at this point. I mean, Holm honestly got lucky to get away with a split decision against Pennington, so I don't see her getting that lucky twice.
Now this next fight, Manny Gambarian and Scott Jorgensen, two guys who I think they're one injury away from retiring.
Yeah, I would not argue that point one bit.
I hope this is a short fight. I don't see it going to the decision.
Who do you got winning, though?
Jorgensen. Second round, I don't care. Knockout, submission, doesn't matter. I just think Jorgensen's got the better skill set here.
I'm tempted to agree, but I'm not going to. And I don't even like the guy, but I'm going to pick Gambarian anyway.
Okay. Well, that's split decision for us. That's fine. Kevin Lee and James Montessori. I mean, this is a fight Kevin Lee has to win, right?
He's on a roll. 3 straight wins. I don't see this fight being a problem for him.
Not saying tomato can, but it's an easy fight for Lee, I think.
No, Mutarsi, however you say the name, I was at his fight in, San Antonio? I still don't know how to say the name. He's a decent fighter. I mean, he beat Cody Pfister. We just talked about him a little bit ago, so.
One's on the main card and one's on the Fight Pass prelim.
Yeah, that's true.
Now, what about Matt Dwyer and Alan Joubin to kick off the main card? Who do you got in that one?
He's coming off a great fight. He had the Superman punch finish at the show in Brazil, so yeah, I'll go with Dwyer.
Okay, I could see that. Now, is there anything on the prelims that catch your eye on this one?
Igor Arujo and Sean Strickland.
Really?
Yeah.
I would have thought the Kanahara Yaya fight would have got your eye.
I like the fight for Strickland because it's his chance for redemption after losing a decision to Ponzinibbio, and he was undefeated up to that point. So I see good things for him, and Arujo, super tough fighter, been around forever, had a really nice winning streak going until he got knocked out by George Sullivan. So again, redemption fight for him. I think that's a great matchup.
So those are the fights for the Fight Night show on Wednesday.